now. Good morning, Matt. We appreciate you being here. How are you?
Hey, Justin. Good morning, Michigan. How's everyone doing this morning?
So the great
Happy
news
Friday.
here, I can really get behind this. Less wait time at the Secretary of State. That's nice, especially times like this. I saw a nightmare story from a friend of mine who, he said, I had to go in and get my real ID. And he said, even with an appointment, I'm sitting here waiting, and I've been here forever. It is not good right now. And by the way, isn't that what the Secretary of State, Jocelyn Benson ran on that, is that she wanted to make wait times shorter for folks. Now, I understand we're in a pandemic and things are going to change a little bit, but holy smokes.
Well, yeah, she originally campaigned on 30-minute lines or less, which is a great place to be. However, shortly after the beginning of the year when we took office, we started receiving phone calls from all over the state, especially in the larger metropolitan areas, about 2, 3, 4 hour wait lines, wait times. And, we identified that we have a serious problem because when you add it all up, we're spending about 200 years of our lives standing in those lines.
Oh.
It's not like we have an option to do it. It's something you have to do. And incidentally, about 60% of the people that are going to a Secretary of State office that are walking in that door, they're there to pick up a plate tab.
Right.
Think about that for a minute. 60% of the traffic volume walking into a Secretary of State office is to pick up a plate tab.
I had to do that here's my story, Matt. I had to do that this summer because my birthday's in July, and I went to the place that is normally it's in Sparta. There's the secret. I go to Sparta, and it's a lot easier because it's usually it's short. Well, it's about half an hour for me, but the thing is, it's shorter wait, and I don't have a problem with that. But I go in there and I walk up to the door, and I didn't realize, I forgot that they were doing the appointments. And I walk up the door and say, "Oh, do I have to have an appointment?" And she's like, "Yeah, it's really easy. You can get one probably for tomorrow. Just go online and make sure you do that." And I said, "Okay." But I said, it's a plate tab. Is there anything I can do? And she said, "Oh, you could come in and use this machine right here." And I thought, "Oh my goodness." So I did. I was able to go in and use that machine. But at the end of the day, this process could be a lot quicker. It could be a lot more simplified, and that's what sounds like you want to do here.
Well, if you're over 50 years old, you may recall a time when you could actually walk into a AAA office and actually do your Secretary of State business there.
Yeah.
It wasn't until the mid-'70s we actually had offices. Most Secretary of State transactions were performed by auto dealers, AAA offices, small businesses in small towns. So we're actually talking about doing something a little bit that we've been doing for a long time in the past. We have to do something because this isn't working. We cannot go back to these long lines. And you know what? Michigan needs something fun right now because, all the strife we've been through COVID, imagine not having even to worry about your plate tabs. So one bill does this. It completely eliminates the plate tabs 100%. So what you would do is you would go online, or perhaps, we even have this idea. We have all these kiosks all over the state. And I'm not talking about the Secretary of State kiosks. I'm talking about the kiosks in Meijer stores, for example, where you go to buy a hunting license, right?
Sure.
Imagine walking up into a Meijer and just scanning your driver's license, and then they say, "Okay, which plate you want to renew?" You give them your $150 right there, and you're done. Plate tabs were designed for a time when we did not have computers in all of our police cars.
Mm-hmm.
So when a police officer pulls up behind you, they're not necessarily looking at that plate tab. You got to be like 6-10 feet away from it to see it. So what they do is they run your plate. Okay. And when they run your plate, instantly they are told on their computer whether or not that plate is valid or invalid. So here we are driving along and using this antiquated system that was designed for a time many years ago when we did not actually have, computers in police cars.
So you're saying that this is outdated. It's time to take a step forward in the right direction here. And you'd think that the folks who claim to be for progress would be for this. So what's the chances that this thing goes through?
Well, let me take it one step further. 4 years ago, we the 7 million drivers in Michigan the option to provide electronic proof of insurance. This is basically electronic plate verification. This is electronic tabs is what it is. So today you can keep your auto insurance, proof of insurance, on your phone if you want to.
Let me ask you this: how much money would this save? Because I can't even imagine what it costs to print those tabs every year. This year it was 3 cars we printed. I don't know. I mean, it's got to be a few bucks per family.
Probably I'm one agency estimated about $500, but I think it's a lot more than that when you add up the postage and the handling and all the stuff the Secretary of State has to do with those tabs to get them into your house. Mm-hmm. The real savings is going to be the time that we have to spend in these lines. And if you look at, as a legislative body, we have to weigh every piece of legislation, and it's virtually impossible to make every piece of every law to make everyone happy. But in this situation, when you look at the windfall of benefits to the 7 million drivers in Michigan, it's small in comparison to the police, for example, that may be against it.
Yeah. Are they against it?
Yeah, they say that we need to have plate tabs because when their computers go down, they have to have a way to visually inspect the plate to make sure it's paid for. But you know how often computers go down in police cars or the lien system goes down? Like twice a year.
All right. So what is the chances that this bill actually goes through? State Rep Matt Maddock's on with us right now.
Well, we had hearings last week, and they went quite well. We had very little opposition. And, I would hope that's something that if you're a listener and you want to get rid of these pesky tabs, call your state legislators and let them know this is something you're in favor for. And it's something we can do. There's no reason why we can't do this.
While I got you on the phone with me right now, we saw the governor came out and said, okay, finally, we're going to let gyms open. We're going to let high school sports be played. Now, I don't think this is any coincidence, Matt, that this was less than a week after a group of parents, student athletes, and coaches went to the Capitol in Lansing and said, please let us play. I just talked with Jamie McIlvaney. She's the woman who organized this, the mom that organized this whole thing, and she's never been involved in politics at all. But now you get mom saying, come on, Governor, let these kids play. Let them have some sort of normalcy back in their lives. What do you make? And we still got businesses that aren't open, movie theaters specifically. It's funny. I was in Indiana last week, and they're playing football at high school, and the movie theaters are open. What's the difference between Michigan and Indiana?
Well, this is what I think. And we're going through tumultuous times, right? This is not easy what we're going through. But at the same time, what's happened here in Michigan and other states is it's actually getting more people involved in politics, which is great for all of us. Yeah. So the more people that we get involved in politics that wake up and start paying attention and realize how much their vote matters, this nation is a center-right nation, and some of the things the governor is doing is actually offending a lot of the Democrats. So I think this is going to ultimately, I think there's going to be a political price to pay about this.
Will people stay engaged?
Ultimately, we're going to be better off after all this. We're going to have more people engaged in politics, which is great.
That's the question. Will they stay engaged? But I appreciate you taking the time to be with us and talk a little bit about this. Representative Matt Maddock on with us this morning. Thank you for being here. We appreciate it.
It's a pleasure.
Absolutely. Make it a great weekend. Enjoy. And, of course, you want to see more about, maybe hear more, dig a little bit deeper into these stories. We'll put links online, too, on our show notes page. Just search West Michigan Live there on the iHeartRadio app. And, of course, you can watch the streams. We got them up on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Back with more good news this morning. We'll talk about the market and your money